Yep. All right, so we all have this showing now. Ooh, that AC feels good. Yeah. I like that. All right, now the next fun thing we're going to do is font family. So, in other words, I don't really like this, Times New Roman that comes default. nor do I like Comic Sans. So we'll go to the cssfontstack.com, and we can see some of the common font stacks here. So I'm a big fan, although I'm sure some of y'all are going to cringe. Where's my buddy? There's Helvetica. So you can just click on it. And what we're going to do is go ahead and grab some presets of our own for our site. And we're going to copy that. And actually, I'm going to take out this H1 rule right here. And I'm just going to paste it right into our site here.
Could you review that step again, please?
So we went to cssfontstack.com.
Yeah.
And then I went ahead and clicked on Helvetica. You don't have to, no. And then you copy all this.
You copy the CSS stuff?
Yep. Yeah, let's go ahead and copy all of it. It's good.
On the previous page, it had Mac 100% and
The-
7.4. What's that mean?
That's the compatibility.
Why is it so low?
So Helvetica New doesn't come pre-installed on Windows. So what it's going to do is default to Helvetica. That's why I said some people are going to cringe with me choosing that.
Where do you want it pasted?
So you're going to paste it. You're going to paste it. It's going to be your new style.css sheet.
Okay, so take out everything.
Yeah, you can take out that H1 rule. Yeah, you can comment it. One thing, you don't have to do this, just for the sake of time, you don't have to do this, but one thing we could easily do is just go ahead and say body, and we could take the font family. Like you see there's a lot of repetitive aspects in these rules, right? So the most common one, first off, is the font family. So we could paste that in body. The other one is all of them are styled normal, font variant, normal, font weight, for the most part, normal. So we could just take all that. Paste that there, right? So now, if I wanted, I kept that font weight there because it's different than 500. And we could do that. And this is kind of like our own, reset. This is, all our H1s are going to be 24 pixels, H3s are going to be 14, all that good stuff. Okay? And I'm actually going to, we'll change that as we go. But I just recommend for now, I was just showing y'all. I mean, unless you want to do that, you can just leave it as it's pasted. This way? Well, if you decided, tomorrow that you wanted to change the font family, you would have to go through and change it on each rule. Another thing is, if your site was really busy and a lot of people are coming to it, the more lines of code, you have the dry aspect, do not repeat yourself. So the more as you can minimize the lines of code, the better performing your site does. It's not going to matter on if your site only has a couple visitors a day, but as you get to higher traffic, it matters. Okay, and we might as well, start good principles now. Yeah. I'm sorry, people still looking at that? So now we see a little better look. Still got ways to go. All right, so at that point, we have the font family, we have the font presets. I'm actually going to take all that. All right, so the next step we want to do is nice and simple. We just want to get this text to be in the middle of the page, okay? So this is nice and simple. We want so this is all the text in our top section here. So we have our top section. Let's just go ahead and name this section. Let's give it an ID of top. And later we'll go into the differences between IDs and classes, but for right now, ID specific to one element. So you're not going to have, enlarge it, yep. So you're not going to have two sections with an ID of top. When you have multiple occurrences, then that's going to be a class. So it's kind of like you as a person, your name is, my name is Ryan, so there's only going to be, one Ryan Bonhart. However, my class could be like male or, brown hair. So the IDs are specific just to that one element. So let's give that section an ID of top. All right, everybody got that? Section ID equals top. Now we're going to go over to our style document, and we're going to put the text in the middle of the page. So anytime you are styling a div, you can put div, or you can put div and then an ID. When you're styling an ID, you do hashtag, #, depending on which generation you're in, top. So this is saying any div with an ID of top. But with divs, sections, or actually that would have been section, but with div sections, you don't need to put it, you can just put ID top. So any element with an ID of top, we want its text align to be center. So we called that section that we made earlier with the H1 and the H2 in it, the header 1 and the header 2. We gave it an ID of top. So now we gave it an ID of top over here in the HTML, and then in the CSS, we're saying any element with an ID of top, make its text align center. All right. I need like done and not done, so I know everybody's on the same page. So we got text align center here. Now let's, for the text align,
Why such a specific long decimal for that line item?
I have no clue, but I don't think we're going to use pre anyways. We could actually delete that. Yeah. I don't know why they're so. We're going to change the H1s and the H2s here in a second, so I hadn't talked about it yet, but the main thing I was getting out of that is just, where you can find like. But yeah, actually, I should have been more explicit on that. When I took y'all to the CSS font stack site, the main thing I was showing y'all on that is one, how to declare, the font family of your site. And basically the way this goes is he asked the question, why is there such low compatibility on Windows? It's because Helvetica New doesn't come, pre-installed on Windows, and then it falls back to Helvetica. But then if for some reason, the Helvetica doesn't work, or, it's spelled wrong, then it goes to Arial. So these are just the fallbacks in terms of priority. And last resort, it just gives you a regular old sans serif text. And the reason why I took you to that site is just to show you like the web-safe font families, because later I'm going to show you how to bring in fonts from like Google Fonts or other sources you can bring in fonts from. Okay. Thanks for that question, by the way. All right, so we reload it and we have our text nice and centered. All right, so now to show y'all, and because we're going to do this later, what we still have to do, obviously, is we still have to get it moved down, and we have to give it a background, and then we have to style the font a little bit more, okay? So first step is what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a little background color just to show you how it changes. So what we're going to do is we're going to say top, and we're going to say background dash color. And anytime it auto-completes like that, and I'm pretty sure this is the same, I'm assuming this is the same with WebStorm, as you're typing, so background color, you can just push tab right now at this point, and it already lays out that nice colon for you, gives you the right spacing. So now let's just give it a nice light gray background. I think that's light gray. Yeah. That way we can see as things change. And while we're on the topic here, just to give you all a quick heads up, is we have color. I've been using the words red, orange, whatever. That's more of a prehistoric way of doing it, but it's just easy so you all know what it is. But then the other color values you have, this is called hexadecimal value. And that's a way to, that's the most commonly used way to, determine what colors are used in the site. And then later we'll go over, you can also use RGB values as well, and we'll go over that later. All right? Just cool while we're waiting on everyone to catch up, for those of you that are waiting, I like to use for my color schemes, you can go to like flat UI colors, and you can just, you can see different swatches of colors that work together well. And so these are some colors, and if you click on it, like if I click on, go with this silver right here. Come on, dude. Work for me. The heck? Oh, there we go. So if I click on it, it'll copy the hexadecimal value for you. And you could just come over here and put it in. So which this part? Yeah. All right, so now we have this, and we have this saved. And just a side note, if you ever, you go to your site and you reload it and nothing changes, but you expect there to be a change, if you look up here, WebStorm people, you don't have to worry about that because it automatically saves it. Sublime, if you look up here and there's a circle up there, that means you haven't saved it yet. So that's the first thing to check. All right, so you can now see this is our section top. And now that we have inspect element open, like if you right click on it, inspect element, pops up if you don't have it open yet, and you can see this is our section ID top right here. It's 42 pixels tall right now, and it's solely just as tall as the content in it. All right. If you click on section ID top, it'll give you the CSS. You can see this is the CSS we specified for it. No. Get over there. It's the CSS we specified for in our style sheet. So what we want to do now is we want to start moving this text down. So we're just going to go over the box model real quick, okay? The box model, everything on a web page is a rectangle or a square, some form of a rectangle. All right, everything's in a box. And you have the content. So the words that make it up, that's its initial, whatever's inside of it, that's its initial size. And then you have, outside of that, you have the padding. And then right along this line right here, you have the border. So that's the border. And within, anytime you change the padding, it's within the border, so it will add to the background. Like if you have a background color or you have a background image, it'll change within it. So outside of the div itself, then you have the margin. And I'll show you this live here in the next hour, but in the past, basically you added all this up, and that equaled the size of the box. So the original size. So if that content was 200 by 100, this was 50. We'll just say 50. The border was 1 pixel. Then you had a margin of 10. You would add all that up. So let me show you here. Oh. So say we give top width 300 pixels. Give top width of 400 pixels, height 200 pixels. All right? So when you come down here, width of 400, height of 200. Scroll over it, you see width 400, height 200. All right? Now say we wanted to give it padding all around of 100 pixels. Now you can come down here, and this is great about the inspect element tool. It shows you live, the box model, and it's a lot easier to comprehend this way. So now we have, 400 by 200 with the 100 each side. So now, instead of being 400 by 200, this section top is now 600 by 400. All right? So you're adding it all up. And then let's give it like a border 1px solid. So now that's going to add 1 pixel to each side. In other words, 2 pixels to the width and 2 pixels to the height. So now you're going to see 600, and I would zoom in, but if I scroll up there to zoom in, then it's going to go away. That's why I keep coming up here to point. Now you're going to see it 602 by 402. Okay? And then the other final thing is margin. You can have a margin, 20 pixels. And the only thing is margin doesn't count to the box model width because it's outside of the box, but it's just margin to push things away from it. And the cool thing is you'll have this with Firefox or Chrome. It's all color coded for you. So when you scroll over an element, you know exactly what its initial content size is. Just like we have it here, it's going to be blue, and then the padding's green. You'll be able to see the border, and then the margin is orange or yellow, depending on my color blindness.
When I look at my CSS and the inspect element, it's got some head margin before or after. I mean, weren't those supposed to be eliminated with the reset?
The what?
With the reset.
What do you? Sorry.
It's got